the way I was living was basically I was just completely empty. I'd be at the happiest time of my life, be in Hawaii or wherever, where I should be just completely happy, and I just, on the inside, I was miserable, and I had no idea why. It's always the same. It's always the same enemy. Doesn't matter where you go.
He plays Highway to Hell. I'm like, you have the words up there, and everyone knows the words, right? This comes out, and then until you really listen and say, this is really a pretty bad song.
Yeah, his number one game plan is just to get us stagnant.
Yeah.
Just coasting through life.
Yeah.
Not doing anything for the kingdom, because while we're doing nothing, people are dying. Is our voice going to sound cool on the video?
Just like it is right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Jeremy Morrow and this is Faith Leads You Aviation, aka Fly Aviation.
On this channel, we're going to dive into all things that matter most. Faith, family, flying, food, and a whole lot of fun.
You'll hear powerful testimonies, real stories, and moments of victory, seasons of struggle, and how God shows up in it all.
We're going to take off to some incredible airports, eat some amazing food, and have some great conversation along the way.
Buckle up and get ready for takeoff, because the sky is the limit.
Hello everyone, today I want to introduce you to a great friend of mine, Andy Ward. At his core, Andy's a man of deep faith and is a son of God. He's a devoted husband, proud father of two amazing girls, and a man who leads with integrity both at home and in business. Professionally, Andy serves as a Chief Operating Officer at AML, where he brings vision, discipline, and leadership to everything he touches. But what really sets Andy apart is his character, his faith, humility, and commitment to serving others. I'm honored to have him on the channel today. Please welcome Andy Ward.
Besides flying with me, have you ever flown in an airplane?
044, yeah,
Roger. Small airplane.
No small airplanes.
Did you enjoy it? Were you scared?
I wasn't scared. I was anticipated it. Really enjoyed it. It was different. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it a lot.
I just think how peaceful it is outside.
Yeah.
But look out and you say, you can sit in the backyard and yes, it's peaceful like that, but when you sit up here and it's like the sun setting or you go on sunrise, and you just look out and you're like, this is God's creation.
With anything in life, gaining perspective is helpful. You get up here and you look down on Abilene and you realize that's really not near as big as I feel like it is.
Oh, yeah. You're like this.
You look around and how much more is out there and how big the area is, and it just makes Abilene seem tiny.
How were you living before? What kind of things you went through and what kind of life? You think you're a Christian?
I called myself a Christian, but I had no idea what that meant. I just was one because everybody else was, sort of thing. But I didn't really go to church. There were times in my life where I would go, times when I wouldn't. The main thing was I had no relationship, and I didn't even know what that actually meant. By being a Christian, I thought that just meant you're supposed to believe in God and just do your best to be a good person, and the way I was living was basically I was just completely empty. I was always searching for something. I had no idea what it was, but I was searching, and I'd try to find it in all kinds of different things, whether it be alcohol or girls or whatever, vacations or competitions or whatever I could, and it was never fulfilling. It was never fruitful, and I'd be at the happiest time of my life, be in Hawaii or wherever, where I should be just completely happy, and I just, on the inside, I was miserable, and I had no idea why. And I was living a life that I destroyed a marriage, I destroyed a career, I was destroying another marriage, I was hurting a lot of people around me, and I was just miserable. Even though it may look good on the outside, but on the inside, there's a lot of binding and unhappiness. But finally, I had a buddy move back to town, and he invited me to a men's retreat over in East Texas, and I knew I needed something. And the funny thing is, I knew the Lord was preparing me for something. I didn't realize it while He was doing it, but after the retreat, I realized that's what He was doing. But he invited me to the retreat, and I was obviously like, maybe, because I'd never done anything like that. I was real good at hiding because I was guilt and shame. I didn't want to be exposed. I didn't want people to know who I really was, all that. So, but in the background, I didn't know that my wife had texted him and said, no matter what happens, you make sure he gets to that men's retreat. which tells you the state of our life and our marriage and where we were headed. You know, she was desperate for me to have any kind of life, any kind of change. So I'll tell you, on the way down there, I stopped at Buc-ee's for the first time ever in my life, which was a wonderful experience. But I got an absolutely horrible migraine right before we got there, and like terrible. And he said, "This is the enemy trying hard to keep you from going. We're not going to let it happen." So when we pulled into Buc-ee's there, we got some Excedrin and took care of that migraine, and we got to the boot camp, and it was awesome. It was incredible.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we can take away from that is, like, you said yes, and then also the enemy is going to try everything they can, even to the last minute, to stop you from what God has called you to do.
And I'm thankful to him too, because, you know, if he wouldn't have had me get in his truck and go with him, I probably wouldn't have shown up, you know.
All right, yeah, one thing you said is your wife had texted your buddy. Obviously, she was ready for a change in you. Had she already changed at that point, or surrendered to God, or what was the...
To be honest, like, we're called to lead our household and lead our wives, right? Well, that goes either way. And so I probably had led her further away from the Lord than she wanted to be. I know I did. I know our decisions and my decisions and the way I want, things I want to do, the way I was living, absolutely pulled her further away from the Lord. She grew up very close to the Lord, mission trips and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I'm certain, and not to put words in her mouth, but I'm certain I had led her further away than she had wanted, and she was desperately trying to get us living healthier lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
she knew she needed your guidance through the Lord.
Yeah. So anyway, she was ready for a change. She knew I needed something. I'm certain she was pretty miserable as well with the way I acted and the way I treated her, and I just wasn't a very good person because I didn't know how to be. You know, when you don't know your father, you don't know how to be a good husband and a good father.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she was pretty desperate for some change.
One thing is, like, what's God revealing to you right now? How are you growing in the Lord?
Well, recently I've been on I guess probably about a year now. I've been on a journey to experience Him more, chase after His presence more, whether it be through the Holy Spirit, through the gifts, through whatever it is, just hearing Him more, experiencing Him more. And what it's done is it's kind of showed me how often I'm not turning to Him and not pursuing. You know, that I'll wake up, start my day off with my reading and my prayer time and all that, but then I get home and I get the kids and do all that, and next thing you know, I'm laying in bed and realizing I haven't gone to the Lord one time today. Like, so what I've done is I've tried to change that to where it's an all-day thing. Pray continuously, right? To where it's an all-day where I'm bringing Him into every thought, every decision, everything at work, every bad thing, good thing, you know, all of it. And that's really that's changed things for me. It's really opened up my relationship with Him to where it's more of a constant thing instead of because it's how often is it a when I need Him thing, you know, which doesn't usually work out too well.
Yeah, it's like, God, I need to win the lottery here. Please help me. And you're like, well, I haven't heard from you in a year, buddy.
Yeah,
like,
where you been?
Why are you asking me?
Yeah. So that's my biggest thing right now is just getting to a point where it's an all the time thing. I want Him in my life every minute, all the time. That's who I go for. Hard decisions, easy decisions, good, bad, whatever it is. He's just there. And another thing I've started trying to do better is whenever I have moments where I'm feeling anxiety or whatever it is that we're going through, anxiety, fear, whatever it is, like actually stop. I use the pause app or use whatever, music, whatever you got to do, but actually pause and just breathe, hand it over to Him, and let Him kind of recenter me. You know, that's been pretty helpful. I've been trying to do more of that lately.
Yeah, that brings up a good point about the pause app. So that pause app is an awesome resource, and I've tried to use it daily. And it just, especially when you're frustrated. I know obviously you can do it in the morning or the evening or whenever, Tom, but
Yeah.
set a reminder on there, and it'll pop up on your phone. Hey, you got to take your pause. So I think that's a good, just breathing. Just there's something scientifically with the breathing, but just taking a minute and just getting back and saying, "I give it to you.
Yeah.
You can have all this because I don't need it."
Yeah.
So, especially at work, I know we can get a little frustrated with some people that are out of our control, and it's like, okay, hey, we need to look at these people as they're God's children too.
Yeah.
Let's recenter and refocus.
Well, and the flip side of that is instead of just going to it when I'm feeling overwhelmed, go to it on a regular basis.
Yep.
So that when those overwhelming moments come, I'm already centered, and so that's the more you can go to Him, the more often, the more He's your focal point. The more you're operating from Him, the better off you're going to be in those situations.
I just kind of talked about the negative side, but yeah, when you're doing good, you need to also pray. It's like we need to thank God for what we have, not just what we want.
Right.
Just say, hey, we want. Hey, thank you for this awesome life. We live in a country that we can praise you, and we don't have to be persecuted, we can walk into church and not hide. And so, read the Bible. We don't have to store it under our bed or wherever. So that's a huge thing. So
it's almost too convenient for us.
Yeah, I think there's a flip side of that. That people are like, oh, I'm just a lukewarm Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. So you kind of talked on your disciplines, I guess, in your quiet time and stuff. What kind of plan do you have? Like 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes if you don't do it, if you're running late, do you do it in the evening? Do you pray with your wife? That's another one. Pray with your kids. I know one of them obviously is going off to college, but yeah, tell us how you, with your family, do you have a plan with that?
Yeah, I have to do mornings for my quiet time. Otherwise, in the evenings I get tired or I get busy. It just never happens. So I have to do mornings. I get up early before everyone, and it's about an hour usually. I read and pray, worship, just depending on what season I'm in. But then, as far as my wife, we probably should set aside a specific time, but we don't have anything scheduled or anything like that. But we'll pray. One of the favorite things about what's going on in my life right now is I've been called into the altar team prayer ministry, and I'm getting to do that with my wife. And so much of my walk has been in the men's stuff, which hasn't been with her, Yeah. So I'm finally getting to do stuff with her, and it's been very fruitful. It's really made me see how powerful she is in the spirit, and how gifted and how she operates in that realm, and it's just been such a blessing to see. So I'm very thankful for that. And then with the kids, we try to obviously bring it up whenever we can, point out situations or take stuff to God when we need to. But we also, every night before bed, we like to pray. We like to pray with her. She actually prays. She asks for our prayer requests and thankfulness, and then she does.
She asks for y'all's prayer requests?
Yeah, she asks for ours, and we both give some, and then she prays, and then we do the Lord's Prayer. And what's really cool about that is when we get to see a breakthrough or a healing. We literally last week prayed for a woman who had an eye appointment that week. They thought she had melanoma in her eye, and the option was to take it out. But then we got a report that Tuesday or Wednesday that the doctor said that it's just a mole, which was just missed, he said. So anyways, it's just complete, total, I believe the Lord just made it go away. And the beautiful part about that was because we prayed for her with my daughter, then we got to also celebrate God's healing and faithfulness with her too. So she got to see both sides of that, which is really cool for your kids to get to see God working, right? Don't treat your kids like kids, but expose them to God and how good He is and how big He is.
If you want to talk about it, let's go about to your journey with your dad and knowing, your true father. Your true father, and then coming to meet your biological father, and how you've turned that relationship around and all the fear and anxiety from that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to that because after I gave my life to the Lord, one of the things that I decided and I said to the Lord is if there's something uncomfortable, if you put something uncomfortable in front of me, I'll lean into it. I'm not going to turn away from it. I'll lean into it, which he did and is continually doing. But what I've found from that is it's given me so much fruit. And one of those things is he's brought my dad back into my life, my biological father, and which has been such a blessing in itself to me and to him. Not only God bringing my dad back in my life is one, that's obviously a huge part of the story, and it's an incredible testimony. Something that I've said that I wasn't even looking for. I didn't know it was even possible, but he just did it.
Commend the relationship.
Yeah, but then what he did from there is he used some of the stuff that I was doing to minister to my dad, who desperately needed him and didn't know him. He was Catholic. He was quote-unquote Christian, but he didn't know the Lord, and he didn't know his grace and his love, and he didn't know that. So he caught us on a Facebook Live, and then met with Randy Reese, talked about Jesus. Randy gave him a Bible. He started reading the Bible. He started going to church up in Nebraska, and then next thing you know, he moved down to Texas. I got him to go to boot camp with us this past, and then I'm baptizing him in the pool at boot camp. So just this timeline of God said, yeah, I'll bring him into your life, but maybe it's not just about you. Maybe it's about him. Maybe I want to heal him, and I want to heal all these other areas through this little action. So it's been really cool to see God take something great and just build off that and keep changing it. And now he's found a new church down here. He's going to a Bible study. It's a cowboy church, so he's on the arena planning committee. It's so cool to watch the Lord come in and just take something and make it so much bigger than we could have ever imagined, and definitely so much bigger than what we could have done ourselves. I could have tried real hard. No, you got to come to our church. You got to do this. You got to give your life to the Lord. But if you let the Lord do it and just partner with Him instead of trying to make Him partner with you, it usually is much more fruitful and bigger than you could. And that's the thing that I keep taking away is it's so much bigger than I could have even thought of, or planned or tried for. And that's what's cool is He goes beyond. He's so much bigger than we can imagine or anticipate. That it's silly when we try to put Him in our box, limit Him to what we want.
Yeah, it's like when we try to do things ourselves, or even if we look back. You thought in 2016, let's say, a year before you went to the boot camp or the camp, if you were like, hey, I'm gonna have a positive relationship with my dad, we're both going to be going to church, maybe not the same church, but we're both going to come to the Lord, we're going to surrender our lives, you would have been like, you're crazy, man. Yeah. And so I think it gives you, obviously it was a step. A lot of times we don't want the steps, we want the end, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like bring you to know your salvation, share it. Your dad, meet back with your dad, sharing that with him, and not forcing it on anybody, just saying, hey, Jesus loves you, here you go, and then now look where but you never even thought he'd probably move here.
Yeah, no. And the other thing is I talk to people all the time to get frustrated with, well, we're trying to do this, and we're waiting to hear from God, and waiting, whatever. They get frustrated because God's not doing it. But what I've come to learn, even from my dad's deal, God's timing is perfect. It'll happen exactly when and how He wants it to, and if we can take peace in that, like if I would have tried to reach out to or if he would have tried to reach out to me 5 years earlier, let's say 10 years earlier, whatever, I probably would have rejected him, and I probably would have. I'm not talking to him. He had been in my life, So I knew for sure that when he reached out, it was exactly when he was supposed to, And there's a lot of power in understanding that God's timing is always perfect, always right on time. What we have to realize is we always think about I, but the Lord's looking to his children, right? So for me, it's not about me. It's about everyone else. Everything the Lord's given me and blessed me with, and just all the blessings He's given me, all the gifts He's given me. It's for me to pour out to other people. Same thing they say at church every Sunday when we finish. Like, bless us so we can bless others, right? Now, I can get caught up in how the Lord brought my dad back into my life, but I think more than anything, I look at, see the way the Lord has saved my dad through bringing me back into His life,
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge thing that we got to get our eyes off ourselves and get them on other people.
Speaking of fathers, obviously, your biological father wasn't there. You didn't have like a father figure there. Have you had a spiritual father come along at Beltway or in Abilene that's helped you through this journey?
The first one that came to my life was Zach, and he really came in on the front end and just started holding me accountable and getting me to things and getting me to say yes and getting me to, that was the biggest thing, and just spoke into my life, spoke into my family, spoke into my kids and my wife, and just kind of showed me what does this look like? What does it look like to be a follower? Because I had no idea whatsoever. I had no idea what it looked like to be a good husband. I tried and I failed, and that's about all I knew. So he's really been the first influential man in my life to really show me and lead me. But then there's been so many other at Beltway. There hasn't been one that just has just taken me under his wing and just ran for the whole time. But there's been a lot that I've gone to in different seasons or different things. Jeff Tickner I meet with regularly, and we just talk. I'm not asking him to fix my life but we talk. We have good, healthy, godly conversations, and we're very real with each other. And we're just able to, he sometimes when we meet, he's telling me how he's messing this up or that up or struggling with this, and sometimes when we meet, it's me saying, man, I'm going through this really tough area in my life, and how do you do that, Jeff? How do you do that well?
It's this guys here and there that are helping you, and then you're just bouncing ideas and holding you accountable.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like if you hadn't seen me showing up, what would you do? Hey, where you at, man? And like, not condemning or any way, but just like, hey, I know something's going on if you're not showing up, or stuff like that. So
it's out of love. Zach talks about this all the time. The three areas. You got to have someone that you're pouring into, right? Or people that you're pouring into, because that's important that we're pouring out to other people. And you don't have to be a scholar or have it all figured out to pour into other people. Sometimes just checking on them, loving on them, just encouraging them. Ask, hey, let's go catch this or that. Or but then there's also the people you do life with, which is important. You got to have good, quality, godly people in your life that you're doing life with. On a day-to-day basis, because you're gonna become like the people you surround yourself with, right? And then the third thing is that you have a father figure. That you have someone that's pouring into you, which is important. You need someone that's speaking life into you and holding you accountable and calling you out when you need called out sometimes. And again, like you said, in a healthy way, in love, but someone who really cares for you. And
all right, everyone thinks when you surrender to Jesus or give your life over to the Lord, that it's just going to be a cruise ship. And I know we talk at boot camp about this, that when the enemy had you where he wanted you, that things, not that they were good, but they were easy. And that's how my life was. It wasn't hard, but it wasn't good.
Right. And
then when you give yourself to the Lord, that things get better, but not easier. Do you have your life? Was it good but not fruitful? I guess that's a way to say it.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on who you are. I was below the just coasting line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was down where I was causing a lot of harm and hurting a lot of people. So it was not easy for me. But I know people who just kind of coast by and everything's pretty easy, and then they decide to follow Jesus, and yes, all of a sudden
really hell breaks loose.
Yeah, literally.
I hate to use that term, but
the enemy comes against you because when you're stagnant and coasting, and he's not too worried about you. But when you're trying to do things for the kingdom and following the Lord, all of a sudden he's going to try to fight you, and that's that for sure happens. For me, I don't know that anything in particular came, but as I started following God more and more, I guess it got harder. But as I started going through it, he started healing and fixing, and so it actually, for me, it didn't get harder. It got easier. And once you come to the realization, like you're still going to have obstacles, you're still going to have bad stuff happen. But when you realize that even through that bad stuff, He's there, and you have that hope now. So it's, for me, it's been easier. Even though, has He still come against us? Has He still done things? Yeah, absolutely. But for me, it's much easier to go through it with Him than without Him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I for sure have guys who think, I gave my life to the Lord, why is all this hard stuff coming at me? Well, yeah, absolutely. The enemy's trying to stop you right where you are, And the other thing you got to remember is, just because you gave your life to the Lord, you still have consequences from prior decisions. I still have to share custody with my daughter because of prior decisions. That sucks, But
yeah.
it's a consequence from before I was following Christ. So
we're on this earth to spread the word, to spread the gospel, and help and encourage people. But also, this is the enemy's world, right?
Yeah.
Like we're still flesh. That a lot of people think, oh, I gave myself over. All right, I'm gonna never struggle anymore.
Yeah, and I haven't found the word easy in the Bible yet.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we're looking for something that's not meant to be there. I always think of Paul in prison, singing to the Lord, singing praises to the Lord while he was in prison. The Lord shaking the jail and opening the doors, and instead of running and praising the Lord, I'm free, running and getting out of there, he stopped and waited to save the jailer and his family as well. So I try to keep that in mind. Like we're not called to an easy life. We're called to serve the Lord, and sometimes that's easy, sometimes that's hard. But I've always found blessings in it and fruit in it. It's always been so rewarding, even if we've done something hard or gone through a hard season. There's usually a blessing or something at the end or during it that I wasn't expecting. It just happened. And typically, you get that blessing. You see that blessing in other people, right? People that you're able to bless or help or whatever. There's not very many things in this world that are better than that.
Yeah. I think one thing that you were talking about, not easy, but I'm going to circle back about being uncomfortable. When you get uncomfortable, I found that I do the most growth, or maybe not just in me, but other people too. Yeah. When you're pursuing the Lord, but you're also okay, like you said, you got a little uncomfortable here, and look, my dad came from all this. In church today, they invite somebody to the church. Hey, that one invitation, look what changed David's life. And so, it might be uncomfortable. Hey man, I know you don't go to church and you don't want to talk about it, but I'd love for you to come with me. Or, something. So it's so simple.
We were literally talking. We're going to Ireland in July on a mission trip with both my daughters. And my youngest one today was talking about, I was like, well, what are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to? And one of her things was being uncomfortable on the plane and being uncomfortable in a group. So we talked about, hey, I always tell guys, growth happens in discomfort. Not too many good things happen when you're comfortable, and that's when the growth happens. And I've seen that. My biggest thing with my walk is there's always another level. There's always a next thing, and you get to an area or a place or a maturity, and you think, and I've gotten here, but then you always see the next one, and you think, man, I just want to get there now. I want to be able to do that, or whatever. Be that maturity level, and then you get there, and there's another one, and it's not a bad thing. It can be if you're just chasing a status or chasing a position or something like that. But for me, it's just there's more to the Lord. And all of a sudden I realized that, so I chase after that. And you get that, and you're like, oh, there's even more to the Lord, and it's chasing after levels of the Lord. And the best way to continue that pursuit and to chase down the Lord is to get uncomfortable and allow Him to work in that, And every time, there's things He's doing right now that I'm not going to say I'm afraid of, but I am very uncomfortable that's coming up in the next 6 months. that I have not asked for, I have not pursued, but I've been pushed into them, and it'd be really easy to say, no, that's not me. That's not my strength. That's not, there's all kinds of, but I'm just like, sure, let's see what he does in this, So I think there's so much, lean into the discomfort. I don't think you can go wrong if you just lean into the discomfort and just see what the Lord's going to do. And sometimes it's simply bringing you closer to him because you can't do it on your own, or because you're scared, or because you're nervous, But he will absolutely operate in that discomfort.
Talk about your dad at boot camp and you going to Poland. Do you think you see yourself doing more and more and more of that?
Yeah, I have a passion to see people experience freedom, and I love seeing different cultures. Like I said earlier, it's the same enemy no matter where you go. I've ministered to men in Cambodia and in Poland, and it's the same attacks. It's the same, there's nothing new under the sun. It's same attacks from the enemy. So, and wherever wherever the Lord sends me, I'll go. Mind blowing. It's something I never thought I'd get to do, and it's something I probably wouldn't have even chased after because I didn't think it was possible. But then the Lord opened it up, So I'm very grateful for that.
You're the CEO of this company. How do you inspire the other guys that work for you, or maybe the contractors or people that you're on the job site? Do you think that's come easy to you, or that's kind of uncomfortable, and so you have to put your neck out there? And then also working for Trey and the culture they have there, it probably makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Would you talk about that?
Yeah. Like I said, we're in the construction world, which is usually a little rougher. A little rougher workers, a little rougher. But we've decided we're going to be a certain way. We're going to represent the Lord in all that we do, or we're going to try to, anyways. That's the direction we're going to go. And Trey's done a very good job of allowing us to cultivate that and work that way. And it's just been a blessing. We're not out, reading the Bible to people on the construction site, or we try to live like Christ. And we try to bring him into our meetings and into our, even our Christmas party the other day, whatever it is. We try to, we just try to make it open and obvious so that if anyone desires, has questions, or whatever, it's easy for them to come to us. And I try to let them see how important it is for me, how important it is to me, and how important it is to our company. So that they know, hey, this is what is important to us. And sometimes some battle happen, and when I come to them, like, it's all right, we'll figure it out and learn from it and move on. And they're like, well, wait a second, you're losing money, But yeah. And obviously it's a business, we have to be profitable, or we won't continue. But the Lord, again, there were not too long ago, a couple years ago, I started getting a lot of anxiety. 2024, we were fairly slow off and on. The economy was weird. I started taking on a lot of anxiety on, man, I got to keep these guys busy. I'm responsible for getting these jobs. I got to make sure. And it was me. And thankfully, you surround yourself with like-minded people. There's a guy in our office that said, hey, just take a second and remember that we're not the provider, right? The Lord is our provider. Well, if we believe that, we gotta walk that out. And man, it's such simple words, but it took so much pressure off me, and I was able to just relax and say, you know what? If we're slow right now, it must be for a reason. Lord, what are you trying to do in this slow time? Is it time to prune? Is it time to change things? Is it, what do you want to do in this slow time, Lord? Because He's the provider. I'm not winning any of these jobs. So it was just such a blessing just to hear that, and just kind of reset, recalibrate, and give that back to him. So yeah, we try to do that. So it's just been an absolute blessing where the Lord's put me.
That's great to hear. When you said your daughter, you're asking for what prayer? Jolie or
Hannah?
Hannah? Oh, Hannah, really?
Yeah.
So she's 11 years, 12 years?
11 now. Yeah.
11, yeah. And she's asking you what you need to pray for?
Yeah, it's something we started a long time ago. It just says, every night we go in before bedtime and we do our prayers, and she asks what y'all's prayer requests and thankfulness. So it's just something we did. And my wife started it, obviously, not me, but something we started a while back just to get her thinking about other people. You know,
Yeah.
It's funny, we come out as babies and the whole world's about us. And as our kids start getting older, you slowly gotta make it less and less about them. You know, less and less selfish. And about 10 years old is a hard time because the world's been about them for so long. And
Yeah, all about me.
yeah, so we've been trying to make her, you know, think more and more about other people and serve, and that's why we want her to go on this mission trip so she can see what it's like to serve other people. And
You're present with your kids, and they're going to pick up on things you get. You ever listen to that song? Been watching me, or I've been watching you, whatever.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, they're going to kind of pick up on those things.
And there's the other side of that too. They do watch you. So even if you're saying the right things and pretending the right things, they're going to pick up on what you're really doing and who you really are. And you know that goes both ways, good and bad. So,
Yeah, because you're like, okay, don't curse, and then you're cursing over. You're like,
your family sniffs it out the fastest, right? Your kids and your wife.
oh yeah,
The posing.
the poser.
They sense that a whole lot faster than anybody else. So it does no good to be fake out in public and then come home and the real you is mean and hateful and angry and not present and all that.
Yeah, the poser, that's most of us were posers. I know you kind of hit on it, but like saying everything's fine, and it's just like a lot of people can see through that, and we're the ones that are like, oh, we're hiding this, but most people are like, hey, we can see that you're not doing okay.
Again, it comes back to vulnerability. One of the best things you can do is be vulnerable with people, because that brings down the walls and lets them know, hey, they're willing to share stuff about them, personal stuff or deep stuff about them. And next thing you know, the other person, and I tell people all the time, like, man, don't be afraid to share your testimony. So many people are guarded for their testimony because they think they have to be perfect before they can share a testimony, which, you know, share it when you're in the middle of it. You know, share it when it's raw and real.
Yeah.
You know, share it when there's some tears still coming, because it brings power to other people. But then also, when people share their testimony, I tell people to share their testimony because what you typically find out as you share testimonies, there's little places in you where either you're not completely free, or you need some more healing, or either that or it brings almost not a reward, but it makes you feel good to share that with other people, because what you're doing is you're praising God, right? It's not your testimony, it's what He's done in you. So when I share my testimony, I'm sharing what God has done, nothing of what I've done. So it's really what you're doing is you're praising God. So I tell people all the time, share your testimony. You encounter guys all the time that are like, nah, I'm not ready to share that yet.
Like, when are you going to be ready?
Yeah, usually that's because you're still holding on to something, or you're not. There's still some guilt, shame, something that's still holding on to you. You're like, man, I don't want to. And there's you have to use. You have to be wise in what you share. You don't want to share something that's going to hurt your wife or share something personal. You know, you got to use.
You can't just say, I cheated my wife yesterday.
Yeah.
She's like, what?
Use some discretion. Use
discretion.
some discretion. But yeah, share your testimony, man. I had a deal the other night while I was sleeping, and the Lord woke me up at 2 a.m. and brought some stuff to mind that I absolutely didn't even know or remember. And He started bringing specific people to mind, and He'd bring someone to mind, and I'd repent and cut the soul tie and release them right there, just at 2 a.m. You know, I was like, okay, Lord,
get it done.
Boom, brought another one, and I just laid there and just was obedient and let him convict me and bring things to mind, and we got rid of it right there. So sometimes you have to pursue freedom from stuff, and sometimes the Lord will just bring it to you and allow you to work through it in your own time. And
the thing you said is like soul ties. Soul ties, I didn't think too much about it. And then when Lee Morris did the soul tie or kind of thing about releasing to people, I was like, man, I did that, and just like I just got freedom from this.
Yeah.
And bitter judgment. There's a lot of things and it's really causing harm to us and the other person because we won't forgive them, or we have this mentality, I guess you could say, about, hey, they're always the failure. They're like someone at your job. They're always late, and then guess what? You're just speaking lie, and there's a huge power in the tongue. And that's something the last couple of years I'm like, there's massive power in the tongue.
Yeah, that's one of those underrated things that people don't give enough attention to. You hear it all. People say stuff all the time. I had someone yesterday say, "I'll be damned," and I thought, "No, you will not be." Like, what? But it's just it's one of those sayings that is normalized in our society, and it's like, why are you? But they don't even realize they have no idea what they're saying, or songs that we sing that they're speaking death. It's crazy what we put on ourselves that we don't even realize, because the enemy is cunning and deceptive.
Awesome.
You know.
I hate to say awesome, but strategic. Strategic.
Yeah.
That takes me back to you had the Highway to Hell.
Yeah,
sermon.
Highway to Hell. Yeah.
And I'm like, he plays Highway to Hell. I'm like, you have the words up there, and everyone knows the words, right? This comes out, and then until you really listen and say, this is really a pretty bad song.
Yeah.
Because my dad would blast that song when we were growing up, and I'd sing it. 5 years old, probably singing. Yeah. I'm on the highway to hell, and you're like, I hope I'm not on the highway to hell once you're looking back at it.
It's the enemy hiding his ways. That people say that what you don't know won't hurt you. Yeah, that's a complete lie. People say sticks and stones break your bones, and words will never hurt you. Complete lie. Like, there's all these little sayings that the enemy's put out there to make things seem like not a big deal, or that you should just toughen up and get over it. And that's just not the way it works.
Yeah, me and Kayleen have had many chats on sticks and stones because I used to say that. And then it's like, oh, these people did hurt us by saying these things, or what, whatever. Yeah, someone calls you a loser when you're a kid, and your teacher, you're not going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
And then, guess what? You have that in your head that I can't go to college, I can't get a good job.
Yep.
And it goes a long way, more than you think.
For sure. Generational curses and all that kind of stuff.
Because it's like, you see so many people. They're like, my grandpa was an alcoholic. My dad was an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. I just can't break it. And you're like, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
But also, like you said, the enemy, he has a game plan too. And if we don't have a game plan to stop him, then we don't have we're just living life. And that's what I was doing before. That's what you were doing. We're just living, having fun, living for ourselves. Self-destructing everything, or imploding everything around us.
Yeah. Yeah. His number one game plan is just to get us stagnant.
Yeah.
Just coasting through life.
Yeah.
Not doing anything for the kingdom, because while we're doing nothing, people are dying. If he can get you just thinking you're okay and life is good and worrying about yourself, then he's got you right where you want you. That's not what Jesus called us to.
Yeah, there's a calling on our lives, and it might not be to be a pastor. We have our own ministry. We can touch our coworkers, like you were saying, the coworkers or people that we come in contact at the grocery store. I know people that will pray for people in a taco casa line.
Yeah, the guys that hit rock bottom, they're the ones that they're desperate. They'll try anything. It's the guys who are doing pretty good, have a pretty good marriage and a pretty good job, and I'm doing all right. I don't really need that Jesus stuff. I don't need boot camp. I'm all right. Why do I need to go there? Those are the guys that usually are struggling the most in their head or in their heart, or just kind of coasting, think they're doing all right.
Yeah. I get paid good. I'm not. Me and my wife aren't about to get divorced, but I see a lot of that on the other side. People think they're fine and their wives are fine, and their wife is fed up with it, doesn't want it. Like you, did you think that she was good, everything was hunky-dory, you knew kind of?
Well, I didn't know to what extent. I knew I had put her through a lot.
But were you at a point where, like, okay, it's bad, but it's not divorce bad? Or maybe, I
had been through it before, so I knew that the path I was on, I knew where it led to.
Okay.
Because here's the thing is, like, we're all created perfect image of God, right? Christ-like. We're all created beautiful human beings. And then the enemy comes in and distorts us. So, I had, the enemy was working big time in me, and there were things I was doing and desires I had that I did not like. So when I would mess up, I felt awful. I hated the way I felt. I hated myself, and I would tell myself, I'm never doing this again. I'm never crossing that line. I'm never whatever. And I'd try real hard, but I was the one trying, right?
Yeah.
So I would always fail again, because I was weak. So then when I finally handed over to the Lord and partnered with Him, that's when I was able to overcome those things. And so that I never liked what I did. I always felt awful, and I hated myself, and that would just lead to more. It's compounded and snowballed to. It'd lead to more and more and more because I'd drink more because I felt worse about myself. I'd be more of a recluse. So once I finally, and that's the thing, is once I finally surrendered everything, said, you know what, this is not working. I cannot do this on my own. I am an utter failure. I need whatever this Jesus is.
Yeah, I don't know. I know who He is, but I don't know Him.
Yeah, that's where the freedom came in. That's where the freedom, the empowerment, and the healing started.